Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to be calling to order the meeting and recording it in a few seconds. Okay, we are now recording our meeting and calling things to order at 10:01. It is May 11th. Thank you for joining us. If you would please rise where you're at and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. At this time, we will accept public comment for items not appearing on today's agenda. Is there anybody who'd like to offer public comment at this time? Seeing no one for public comment, we will move to look for a motion to approve our meeting minutes from May 4th.
Motion to approve the minutes from the May 4th Board of Commissioners meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Okay. Next, we'll move into our COVID-19 planning and response portion of our agenda. And we are going to turn it over to Margaret Gray for any prelude to this and also an introduction.
Thanks very much. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure this morning to welcome back Tom Charles, the Executive Vice President for System Development and Chief Strategy Officer at Mount Nittany Health. And Tom is joining us this morning to provide a COVID-19 update and also to share with us some information about events taking place this week at Mount Nittany Health. So with that, I will turn it over to Tom.
Okay, well, good morning, and thank you to the commissioners and to Margaret for giving us some time on the agenda and allowing us to give you an update on how things are related to COVID and then some celebrations that we have going on at the health system this week. So if it's okay, I will share my screen and just have a couple of slides here that'll help, I think, give a visual representation for where we are and where we've been. So can everybody see this okay? Is it coming through? Okay.
Yes.
Well, this is going back to the end of August of last year. That's where this graph starts. And this is a graph that shows the 7-day rolling average of the number of new confirmed cases in the county. We've been at this for some time. I don't have to tell everybody that. And it's good to sort of look back and remember where we've been on this journey. And, you know, we think about this almost in 4 waves of cases in the county. You know, last fall, Thanksgiving, around Christmas, and then bumping up a little bit after the first of the year. And then we found ourselves in a stretch of time here in the last couple of months where we've just been at a elevated steady state of the number of new cases. And so we've been riding the wave up and down in the county. We're back on the way down again. This is a graph as a couple of days ago, and I think the numbers continue to drop. So, you know, that is encouraging, you know, getting ourselves back down to points that we've reached previously. But you can see where we were way back at the end of last summer. And, you know, obviously we're all desirous of getting back to the point where, you know, we are able to have as much normalcy as we possibly can. So it's been quite the year for the health system, navigating our way through all of this and at the same time, you know, managing the scope of services that we provide to the community on a regular basis. If you look at the number of hospitalizations, I want to point out a couple of things. So the line on this graph is the number of hospitalizations in a given month. We have hospitalized more than 1,100 individuals for COVID since we began tracking this. So, you know, a large number of people, largely people from the community. You know, this has not been contained to one particular area. It's been the result of generalized spread across the community. You can see that the number of hospitalizations really began to rise last fall. It reached a peak in the month of December, also a very high number of hospitalizations in January, dipped down in February, and then rose again through the month of April. We found ourselves, you know, once again challenged with the COVID census in the month of April, and it's dropped off so far in the month of May. And you can see this is the average number of COVID patients that we've had in-house every day, during the months here, very, very low, reaching a high of an average of almost 50 people in December, dropping off a little bit back up into the mid-20s last month and, back down again. The average age of individuals who've been hospitalized was running fairly consistently around 70. We've seen this spring that the average age has dropped down a bit to the mid to lower 60s. We're back up again a bit in the month of May. The pattern recently has been a slightly younger population that's been hospitalized, as we've moved through the pandemic. So that's a bit of an overview of the activity. As I say, we're in the mid-teens today. That's a good sign. We're hoping that we can continue to see those levels come down. On the vaccination front, we have vaccinated and scheduled more than 42,000 doses of vaccine. So we have been delighted to lead the vaccination effort in the county. Our team has done a tremendous job of getting individuals scheduled and vaccinated. I'm going to say again, everybody who has the opportunity to get vaccinated, it's safe. We encourage you to do that. We have seen demand for vaccinations soften, and I'm sure many of you have been reading stories about the softening of demand across the country. It's a cause for concern. We would love to see the county get to the point that we have high levels of vaccination. Again, that's a critical part of getting us back to normalcy. You can register on our site. It doesn't matter where you get your vaccine. We're a big part of providing that in the county. There are others as well. Simply take advantage of it. That's what we would say. Please consider that if you're thinking about it at all. So that's the trip through the COVID update. I want to just make a couple of comments about what's going on this week, and then I'll be happy to take questions. So we're celebrating. This is Nurses Week. It's Mount Nittany Health Week. We have been so proud of our 2,300 plus staff across the health system and the work that they've done over this extraordinary year. It's been remarkable to respond to the pandemic in the way that they have, but also keep the services going that the community depends on every day. We've kept our 5-star quality rating through what's been an extraordinary year. We're one of a very small number of hospitals that achieves that across the state of Pennsylvania. And we've done that 4 times running now. We're very proud of that and the work that we're doing to just make sure the community stays healthy. So a big shout out to our team. They're the reason that we do as well as we do. And we're just privileged to be able to do this work on behalf of the community and grateful for the opportunity to talk about that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, any comments that people might have. And thanks again for the chance to come and give you a bit of an update.
Thank you, Tom. It was a great update. As you mentioned in your comments, we've been at this a while. As we've heard it said, the light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter. And we appreciate from the bottom of our hearts all the work that you and your team, everybody at the health system has done to help us weather the storm. And so it's a good time to reflect, look at the data, recognize that we are seeing hospitalizations decrease, we are seeing vaccinations increase, but we're not quite finished yet. I think it was also said that we're at the bottom of the 6th inning or top of the 7th inning. We're close to the 7th inning stretch, but we're still not out of this quite yet. But thank you for the update. Thank you for all that you're doing. And we look forward to talking with you again soon. But I'll open it up to any other comments or questions from my colleagues.
Well, great report, Tom. Appreciate you coming to the commissioners meeting. And good to remind people that the demand for vaccines is softening. So at this point, either no waiting or you get yourself an appointment here in the next couple days. When I had my vaccines, they used literally a baby needle and I didn't even feel it. Well, the shot anyway. Thanks.
Tom, this is Steve. Hey, I just want to say thank you and thank you to your staff for an amazing job through some very trying times. So we want to give you a big high five and thank you. And as we celebrate Nurses Week, give your best to everybody at Mount Nittany Health to continue forward and let's get to that bright light. And get through this all together. So thank you.
Well, thank all of you for your comments. It truly is our privilege to do this on behalf of the community, and we're grateful to be able to do that. And thank you for all of your support. It means a lot, especially as we navigate through these extraordinary times.
Yeah, thanks to your staff, Tom, for the wonderful job they've done now for months and months and months.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, well, thank you again, Tom, for the
Yep.
update. We look forward to talking with you soon. And
Okay.
again, be well, be safe.
All right, thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is our proclamation section. We're going to head into proclamation number 16, and this is to proclaim this week as National Police Week, and specifically the 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in Center County. We are joined with us by our sheriff, Brian Samsel. We will turn it over to our sheriff at this time.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me here on the virtual meeting. I want to please join in with Center County Law Enforcement Memorial virtual ceremony this week. We should be getting that out probably later today or tomorrow. We're just waiting on the signed proclamation to put into the virtual ceremony. But anyways, the virtual week is the Memorial Week is from May 9th to May 15th through several digital virtual mediums on local law enforcement Facebook pages and websites, where we will honor 362 men and women who gave their lives in the service of protection of fellow citizens. Of the 362 law enforcement deaths, 232 were COVID related. The average age was 49, and the average tour of duty was 18 years, 4 months. This is the most line of deaths since 1974. We all wish we could come together and do a ceremony out in front of the courthouse like we normally do, but with these unprecedented times we're still in, we decided to do this virtual ceremony. I just wish everyone would take a few minutes and watch the virtual ceremony when it's shared on our pages and on our websites. Their selfless acts of courage was especially demonstrated without hesitation time and time again in 2020. This year's virtual ceremony stands a reminder that every hour and every day and every year, that those men and women who take the responsibility for safety of society, quietly and without fanfare, they face danger every day to protect us. Every one of us in law enforcement made a commitment knowing full well what someday may require making the ultimate sacrifice. This week, we pay special honor to those who made that sacrifice. Again, I'm wishing everyone to join us this week when we get these out on our platforms. And this is something else. We've had over 124 deaths, 119 as of the end of April, and I believe there was 5 last night. I'd have to look back at the beginning of May, but in the first couple of days of May, but I know there's 5 more deaths last night in law enforcement. So that puts it around 124, I'm guessing. They haven't updated their pages yet, but that's a big jump. Some of them are COVID-related. I looked at the page here this morning. But I just wish everyone would take a moment, and just realize the sacrifice we make, and not only us, the families make to support the men and women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. We echo your comments and thank all of our brave members of law enforcement here in Center County across the country for their service, and especially you. Whenever we have events here in Center County, Sheriff, that require your time and attention to it, whenever you're giving us updates about them, we always tell you, stay safe, and you always have, and so we hope that keeps on going. So again, Sheriff, thank you very much for this proclamation today. Again, we'll do the virtual thing. Hopefully, many more people can attend it. We typically do it at the courthouse. With COVID, you're doing it virtually. So hopefully we'll get a really good turnout online. So thank you for your comments. Sheriff, we'll open it up to any other comments.
Yeah, thanks, Sheriff, and thanks to you, your staff, and all of the other law enforcement people who work for the county, which are actually quite a number, and then the law enforcement who work locally, statewide, and nationally. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Sheriff, I want to say thank you to not only your department, but to all the local, state, and federal law enforcement that keep Center County safe each and every day. Hundreds of folks every year give their lives in the service of our country and keeping us safe. And I just want to say thank you for a variety of things, because first of all, you're the ones that run toward trouble and not away from trouble. when the rest of the world is falling apart, law enforcement's there to make sure that we're safe. So I just want to take a moment and say thank you to all the folks out there, and just take a moment as a citizen to appreciate exactly what law enforcement does to keep the quality of our lives and the safety of our families and our friends, in the utmost front of their day, and they risk their lives to keep us that way. So, just as particularly on Friday when the memorial service occurs, just take a few minutes and appreciate the sacrifice that all law enforcement makes for our society. So thank you very much, Sheriff, and thank you to all the members of law enforcement in our community.
Yeah, I'll share your guys' sentiment at the next meeting, and I really appreciate it. I want to, again, thank you for the proclamation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sheriff. Okay, we will then look for a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt proclamation number 16 of 2021, proclaiming May 9th through 15th as National Police Week and May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in Center County.
I will second that.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the proclamation? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, thank you again, Sheriff.
Thank you. Have a good day now. Thank you again.
You too. Thank you. All right, our next proclamation is to proclaim today and tomorrow as Center Gives Day in Center County. As many of you on the call have seen around our county and maybe in your inboxes as well on social media, a lot of fanfare as it relates to making donations and contributions to your favorite nonprofit during Center Gives days today and tomorrow. And the website is live, it's open. You can donate again to your favorite nonprofit, and they have specific giving times throughout each of the days to help boost the donations and also raise awareness about the great work that's done by different nonprofits. So be sure to go to centergives.org to check out all of the different organizations that have signed up. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are contributed every year during this time period to our nonprofits, but don't forget them year round as well. We obviously, because it's Center Gives days, we don't have anybody currently here from the Center Foundation who helped put this on and run it. We know they're hard at work right now, helping organizations raise money for all of the different causes. But I think we all have our favorite nonprofits we'll be giving to throughout the next few hours. Again, we wanted to highlight this, adopt this proclamation to raise awareness, but we'll open it up for any other comments or discussion at this point.
I just wanted to say it's a great organization. Obviously, this really gets our local charitable giving fired up. I know the statistic's a few years old, but Center County has been listed as the second most generous county in the state after Lancaster County. And sometimes I wonder with Lancaster County that perhaps it's number one because of the Amish putting their HMO contributions potentially in as charitable contributions. So wonderful job by the Center Foundation. I think it's 180 plus charities this year that are participating. And I know here in a couple of hours, my credit card is going to be a whole lot lighter after I contribute to a number of different charities later today. Thanks again.
Well, I think it goes without saying that the quality of our organizations in Center County make the quality of our county certainly brighter. So everybody just remember that Center Gives and the Center County foundations that fund it make a big part of who we are and what we are. So please get out and give. Thank you.
So it looks like currently they're at $485,000. So they're reaching about almost $500,000 with a total gifts of almost 1,500. So it looks like it's going well. And again, we'll be again increasing that total today and tomorrow. So with that, we look for a motion to adopt the proclamation.
Sorry, might help if I unmute. Motion to adopt Proclamation number 17 of 2021, proclaiming May 11th through 12th as Center Gives Days in Center County.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the proclamation? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the proclamation is adopted. Okay, next we're going to head into a presentation section. We are always looking forward to hearing from an annual update from our CNET partner. We are live on CNET currently, and we're very privileged to have Executive Director Cynthia Hahn here with us today. So good morning, Cynthia. We will turn it over to you.
Good morning. Thank you. Just want to, first of all, just make mention the county's board representative to the CNET Board of Directors, where we feel very privileged to have Margaret Gray serving in that capacity. So I want to thank you for voting to have Margaret fill that role. She is invaluable. I also want to mention on the call today, the woman behind the CNET Live is Stephanie Yeager. Stephanie is CNET's operations manager and a producer, and has, by my count, now been producing Center County Commissioners meetings every week for the last 17 years. So just wanted to mention that before we get started. Let's see. So God and technology willing, I will be able to share my screen. Let's see. And we'll go like that. There we go. Is that good for everyone?
Perfect.
Okay, terrific, terrific. So just to start out with the highlights of 2020, of course, virtual meetings became the norm for us, along with everyone else in 2020. There were some various hybrid configurations over the course of the year. And as I'm sure you're aware, both virtual and hybrid meetings do come with some rather obvious audio and video challenges. But I'm very pleased that, you know, the members of our staff were able really to rise to that and you know, continue on through all of the challenges of the year. Penn State's response to COVID, which was essentially to tell the students not to return from spring break as of March 11th, meant that, you know, for the first thing really was that we lost all of our spring interns in 2020 as of March 11th. Going forward throughout 2020, we only had 2 interns in both the summer and the fall semesters. A normal semester would see us having 5 to 6 interns each semester. But throughout the year, the CNET staff produced 451 programs. That is a decrease of about 6% from 2019. I was rather pleased with that. I think that could have been a much greater decrease, but it ended up being just about 6%. And we did gain a new member in 2020. The UAJA, the University Area Joint Authority, became our 16th member organization and our 3rd authority to join the organization since authorities were permitted to join. The franchise agreement, which had been worked on for years and years, was finally signed by Comcast in January of 2020. That does include a per subscriber pass-through of 32 cents per subscriber per month in the 8 municipalities of the Center Region Cable Consortium, and those funds come to CNET for our capital needs. We began receiving those monies in May of 2020. One of the highlights of 2020 is that our website underwent a significant refresh, a much cleaner design. The first arrow you see there just leads to a very obvious and easy Watch Now button that takes you directly to our online player. The second arrow, we have some featured playlists. You can see the county there in the middle, and all other playlists, of course, are accessible from that area as well. And the third arrow leads to where you would find CNET Channel 7 and Channel 98 streaming live at any time there. So we're really happy with the new website. It's very simple, very user-friendly, very, very, very clean. So to just look at the county's sponsorship in 2020, I have there listed for you your 49 commissioners meetings. Of course, we provided live streaming coverage of the mail-in ballot counting for the first time last November. The swearing-in ceremony last January. You sponsored the one League of Women Voters Candidates Night that took place. We produced 3 video PSAs specifically related to the election for you last year. An interview with Joyce McKinley about some of the new voting procedures. The county sponsored 2 Spring Creek Watershed Commission meetings. A Darkness to Light training video, which is Darkness to Light is a program specifically regarding child sexual abuse and how the signs of that may be spotted. And that is a program that we did not produce, and that's why it's only valued at a quarter of a program. And then the Get Counted and Ready to Vote forum that is also valued as a quarter of a program, only because your sponsorship was joint with 3 other CNET members. So that brings us to a total of 62.5 programs. In addition, there were 15 bulletin board messages sponsored, 5 of them from PennDOT, 4 regarding COVID-19, 4 regarding the 2020 census, and then the Conservation District's seedling sale that they have every year. And we value bulletin board messages at about 1/10 of a program. So that adds another 1.5 programs to your total. So we come up with a grand total of 64 programs for the year. You can see that in 2020, the county sponsored 12.4% of all of the programs by all CNET members. That percentage is identical to your percentage of programming in 2019. So that remained exactly the same. This graph shows you the county's sponsorship over the past 5 years of CNET programs, really a very consistent level of programming from year to year. If you look back on the 5-year period of time between 2016 and 2020, the county sponsored 13.2% of all of our programming, which is just about identical to the 5-year time of 2015 to 2019. And that 5-year period is important, of course, because our financial contributions, or the dues from year to year, are based on the level of sponsorship over that 5-year period of time. So this is what all of the member programming looks like over the past 5 years. And the red arrow there is pointing to Center County government in a solid second place behind State College Borough in terms of all of the member programming. So the county is a tremendously important organization to CNET, and really is vital to our survival. And we thank you very much for that support. Just to remind people how to watch, basically your Center County Commissioners meetings are televised. Tuesday meetings, 10 a.m. on CNET Channel 7. They are also streamed live on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is CNET Center County. And those meetings are rebroadcast Friday at 12 noon and 7 p.m. and Sundays at 2 p.m. Of course, I talked a little bit about the website. Both Channel 7 and 98 are streamed live on the website. But very importantly, those programs are available to view on demand from our website for a minimum of 12 months. The advantage to watching the on-demand programming on our website is that we do chapter every meeting by agenda item, which makes it very easy for viewers to watch, only an agenda item that they're interested in. So that is one real advantage to the on-demand programming. We are also available on Roku on the set-top box or the streaming stick, people simply need to search for PEG TV and look for our logo. We are also on the set-top Apple TV platform, not the Apple TV accessible from cell phones at this point, only from the set-top box. I did want to give you, as you've heard me say before, I am not available to give you any, I cannot give you any programming numbers from cable TV viewers. That is considered proprietary information by the cable companies. What I can give you are some statistics about the number of people watching online. So I took the periods of January to December of 2020, where there was an average of 83.8 views of your meetings on the cnet1.org website and another 55.5 on YouTube for a combined average of 139.3. In terms of the first 4 months of 2020, we're seeing 73.4 views on average on our website, 39.5 on YouTube for a combined average of 112.9. I did also want to point out that the mail-in ballot counting live stream on YouTube, live stream number 1, which was the split screen of the two ends of the room, had a little over 2,000 views, and live stream number 2, which was the wide shot, the one wide shot of the room, saw a little over 2,700 views of the live stream that year. And of course, we'll be doing that again for the county for the upcoming election. So on the horizon for the organization, the PEG fees at 32 cents per subscriber secures our capital funding for at least the next 10 years, provides for a great stability of member dues. We're looking at increasing our presence on those over-the-top platforms. We're able at some point to become available on Amazon Fire. Our board is looking to an update to our last strategic plan. And of course, we will be continuing to make various adjustments needed through the demand for virtual and hybrid meetings. So that concludes the presentation. I do want to leave you with a final slide that sort of sums up 2020 for CNET. I think most of us have heard these phrases at various times over the year. So thank you very much. Shall I stop sharing at this point?
Sure.
Okay.
No, that was a great way to end things. Yeah, it has certainly been difficult in this new virtual environment, but CNET has certainly helped us to transition many of our, as we've gone from 146 to this platform, it's been really a smooth transition. So we such a valuable partner, not only for county government, but for our community as well, Cindy and Stephanie. So the whole team there is fantastic. So in addition to yourself and Stephanie, who else rounds out the team there?
Well, our production manager is Matt Burns, and we have Abigail Wilson, who is both our administrative assistant and also a producer. So she wears various hats. So that is the full-time staff.
The Fab Four. That's great. Okay. Well, thank you. We'll open it up to any other comments, questions.
Thanks again, Cindy, for everything CNET does. It's important if CNET's there. Wanted to appreciate your staff. We attend a lot of meetings as commissioners. I serve on something like 35 boards. I think Commissioner Pipe somewhere in the upper 20s, and I know Commissioner Dursum's at least in the mid-teens, and your staff has to attend those numbers put together and more. So very much appreciate everything they do to keep our citizens informed. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Everything you do is great. Stephanie's been with us so long; she's like county family. So we want to again show our appreciation for all you do and keeping the county informed of the goings on in county government. So again, thank you.
Thank you very much, very much. Thank you all for your support through many, many, many years.
Absolutely, Cindy. Absolutely. Okay, so we will thank you again, Cindy, for being with us today and for the update. Thank you.
Thanks.
We will move into our contracts and authorization section of our agenda.
Mike, I think Center Foundation just joined us at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Center Foundation. Oh, okay. Well, there. So sure. Well, we can give them a quick, just a quick moment to say hello. Looks like we do have Center Foundation on the Zoom.
Hello.
Hey, hi, Molly. How are you?
Hey, I am so
Oh, you're
sorry. We
good.
were dealing with some things on the site and I got delayed joining, but I just wanted to
No.
hop on and say thanks so much for everything you do and for the proclamation. We're really excited. We're off to a great start so far. So we're excited to see where the next 36 or now 35 hours take us.
We were looking at stretch pool, obviously 300,000, and total raise so far just crossed 200,000. So it's been a busy morning. It's very exciting. So yeah.
It has been. Yep. We think
Congrats.
it's
No,
going to be
thank you for
a
joining us.
great event.
Yeah, we adopted the proclamation, and we'll making sure that we're sharing everything that you're doing on social media. And again, have a fun day and a half.
Thank you. And thank you again so much for this. We really appreciate the time. I appreciate letting me sneak in a little bit late.
No, not a worry. Thanks, Molly.
All
How
right,
many
thanks,
charities are you
guys.
working with this year, Molly?
I'm
How
sorry,
many
what-
charities are you working with?
Which what?
How many charities are you working with this year?
Oh, 100, over 190. So it grows every year. And so it's been fun to bring in some new folks that haven't participated before. And of course, it's our 10th anniversary. So that's really exciting. 10 years, over $10 million back into the community. So we're excited about it. So centergives.org, if anybody,
That's right.
check it out. And the site is live until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So
Fantastic.
watch
Thank
us
you.
on Facebook and all the social media. And we think we're going to do great things for the community.
Thank you, Molly. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So at this time, we're going to jump back into our contracts authorization section and welcome Lee Schaefer. Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Today, we were asking to add to the consent agenda an agreement with Rent-A-Kill, which is J.C. Ehrlich, as we know, for commercial pest management services at the Centercrest facility. We have corrected this. The contract total is for $360 to run from June 1st to December 31st. That'll get us through the end of the year, and then that'll also align us then to align with our other facilities on a new contract beginning 2022.
Okay, thank you, Lee. So we'd look for a motion reflecting $360 for that time period.
Yeah, that did seem like a heck of a deal. Motion to add the agreement with Rent-A-Kill North America doing business as J.C. Ehrlich at the rate of $360 to the May 20th consent agenda.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
For our human services item, we'll check in to see if our human service administrator, Natalie Corman, wanted to share anything on this item.
No, the only thing I would add, yes, is that we are at 70% of spending our allocations for the 3 quarters. So we continue to be on target with our spending for the services on behalf of children and youth.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. Is there a motion to approve the submission?
Motion to approve the submission of the Act 148 report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. All right. Thank you, Natalie. And we'll head into for the commissioner's item. And this is for Margaret. Anything? Are we going to turn over to John on this item?
John's going to cover this one. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Can you hear me, commissioners?
We can, yes.
Thank you. Before you are two properties that we have received bids on to sell them out of repository. As you know, a property that has delinquent taxes on them go to an upset sale and then a subsequent judicial sale. And if they do not sell at those two events, they then go into repository and they are taken off of the tax rolls at that point. If someone goes into the repository and places a minimum bid, we are required to get authorization from the three taxing entities, which would include the county, the school district, and the local municipality. With those authorizations, then we are able to sell the property, and the property then gets placed back on the tax rolls. So before you are, it's two properties that are next to each other with a stone home on it. And we are looking for approval from the commissioners to proceed with the sale.
Okay, thank you, John. We would then look for a motion to approve to move this to the consent agenda.
Motion to motion to proceed with the sale of the properties from the repository of unsold properties to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, moving into our grants section, under Human Services, we have 3 items for adult services, and we will welcome in Faith Ryan at this time. Good morning, Faith.
Buddy, how are you today? I just have 3 agenda items for you. The first is our contract with the Department of Housing and Urban Development for the fiscal year of 2020. This is a continuation of our HUD-funded rapid rehousing program. The contract total is $212,512 and will start October 2021. The second agenda item is an environmental review that we're required to complete and sign for DCD. This is to go along with the new ESG CV2 grant that we were just awarded. And the third agenda item that I have today, this is a contract with Central PA Community Action. This is for them to serve as an application assistance hub for our ERAP program, or Emergency Rental Assistance Program. They provide us assistance, they provide the community assistance for people that are struggling to apply accurately, maybe provide us with supporting documentation, upload things correctly, so that once it gets to us, it's a lot easier and smoother to process, and then certainly a lot easier for the tenant and the landlord as well. So at this point in time, we have a contract rate of $100 an hour.
Okay, thank you, Faith.
You're welcome.
All right. Any questions on these 3 comments?
Yeah, Faith, this is Steve. What's an environmental review? Could you explain that a little more clearly?
Yeah, so an environmental review is a little bit more, I don't want to say appropriate, but seen more commonly with different programs and grants where there might be master leasing, or it could be like the construction of a building or some other type of thing that you would use DCD funds for. We still have to complete one, even though we're providing the rapid rehousing program. And it's just really indicating that we, maintain our policies. We, have a policy and protocol that we, make sure that we're not being discriminatory, that we do everything kind of in the best practice. So that's kind of the language for us in our particular program. But if you start to see like infrastructure or, again, construction of buildings or something to that effect, it's like the checklist for those programs are much more substantial.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So essentially, it's how these grants would literally affect the environment in terms of, it's literally, is that right, Faith?
I'd have to pull it up to give you a better example. It's more about the environment of the agency. Like it's more about the environment of the program and like how things are going to be conducted. But with the construction of buildings, there very well may be some direct language about like how it impacts the physical environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, feedback for any of these 3 items? Okay, just one final one from me, Faith, would be, will the phone number for number 3, will that be the same? Or like from a consumer standpoint, individual in the community standpoint, will they have to dial a different number, or will it be tied into our current adult services or ERAP number?
Sure. So to connect with the community action, they have their Bellefonte and Penns Valley locations available for people to either walk in or make an appointment. And those phone numbers are on our ERAP website through the county. And then of course, you can find them online or contact our office if you want any additional help. Also for the consumer, if you are in the State College area and would prefer to go somewhere more locally, because that's of course more convenient for you, Center Helps is also providing the same service. So just to put a plug out there for both the programs that are available.
Okay, so they can call folks up
What was
as
that?
well. Can they just call somebody up to ask a question, or is it where they need to schedule an appointment?
So it really depends on the nature of the need. We have it set up where if somebody calls any one of those agencies just because they need assistance, or that's who they contact first, those agencies are educated enough to explain to them the program, how to connect, how to apply, that sort of thing, which we also provide in our office. Some people need extra time or just extra kind of one-on-one assistance that can be done by the phone. And for any reason they need to go into the office to either scan or do it face-to-face, and that would be when they make an appointment.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Yep.
Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, we'd look for a motion to approve all 3 items.
Motion to approve the adult services items 1 through 3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Faith.
Thank you very much.
Would there be a motion to approve today's consent agenda?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The consent agenda has been approved. Okay. We will turn it over to Margaret for administrator's report.
Yesterday, as many of you are aware, the United States Department of Treasury released guidelines for allowable expenditures and allocations that may be made with funds from the American Rescue Plan. And today we are starting to go through those guidelines. They are quite lengthy, and we will be providing some review of those so that the commissioners can begin deliberations about how they might choose to consider allocation of these funds over the next weeks and months and years, since the American Rescue Plan goes through the end of 2024. So we've been waiting for these guidelines. They are finally here, and we have a lot of work in front of us, but it's good work. So that's my report.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Okay. All right. We will then move into a discussion item with our Planning Community Development Office. And this is a notice for funding availability program for our Act 137 money. And we are going to welcome Ray. I don't know if you wanted to make any introductory comments before we move forward with this.
No, this is just a follow-up to our first presentation back on March 2nd, as we discussed the Act 137 history with the county, our Recorder of Deeds activity each year that we've collected for Act 137, and a possible future notice of funding availability under the Act 137 Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and possible application process. I think I have some slides I could go through and show you some of the research we did with other county programs and to go through that. And if there's any questions at the end, I could certainly try to answer those. So if I could share my screen.
Fantastic.
Hopefully everybody can see presentation at this point.
Not yet.
No? Okay.
There we go.
Then presentation mode. So yes, this is a part 2 follow-up to our original meeting on March 2nd. Where we left the discussion was The notice of funding availability or available funds for the program should consider a maximum funding request per project. When it would reoccur annually or biannually, the time frame for announcements and the process of reviewing such an application for an affordable housing project that falls within Act 137, and also any type of agreement that we would establish with a grantee, along with formal announcement on the county webpage or other mechanisms to get the word out on the program. So we left it as, well, let's take a look at what other counties have done with their Act 137 program and specifically look at annual application process versus what we're considering right now as a rolling program where we don't actually have an application. I know projects have been allocated Act 137 funds without any formal type of review under any guidelines that would be established that we discussed last meeting. So fortunately enough, we were looking and researching at other resources that have been developed throughout the Commonwealth, and the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency wanted to look at the 25 years of Act 137, and they proposed to develop a study with the help of the Reinvestment Fund and Real Estate Strategies Incorporated to provide an update. And they fortunately provided this report back in January of 2020. So this is very timely for this discussion. So I know in looking at the data, it looks like Linda Marshall at the time had responded to their survey request, which they did in 2019. And they went around the state and looked at all counties, especially the ones in the first, second, third class that have Act 137 funds, and the remaining classes that do have those funds and utilize them for funding affordable housing projects. Overall, 29 counties responded to this study. 13 did not have any type of Act 137 local housing trust fund within the Commonwealth. So some of the key findings, and these are somewhat familiar to everyone, with our current Act 137 program, we use a majority of that for first-time mortgage and deed recording. We use deed recordings for the first-time mortgage process. So that's something that we primarily utilize at this point. They looked at other counties and how the fund balance is managed, and it varies quite widely between counties and whether they draw a majority of their funds down for projects or if they maintain or build up their fund balance. I would have to say that Center County has traditionally maintained and built up a little over the years with regards to the fund balance under 137. It's not uncommon that planning and development departments manage Act 137. There are some counties out there that have diverted the program to community development or economic development organizations, but for the most part, planning departments are involved just like ours. Again, most of the process of applications are an informal or rolling basis throughout the state. The study also indicates that 1 in 4 counties have a housing committee or a housing trust fund advisory board advising the county's governing body on which projects to fund. Few counties have a formal reporting requirement under 137. I know in the past, Linda Marshall coordinated with our controller's office with the Act 137 fund, but in large respects, a lot of other counties don't have reporting practices, and it varies widely. And then there's other uses for the Act 137 trust fund that are non-traditional. I think more of the urban counties utilize the Act 137 funds not only for homelessness or homelessness programs, but also blight and rehabilitation. The top uses of more common uses of 137 throughout the state include new affordable housing production, first-time home buyer cost and down payment assistance, housing rehabilitation and repair, and federal and state match or leverage of other funds. So I think it's safe to say that Center County's used at least the 3 of those with regards to new affordable housing, first-time home buyer, and federal state match for leverage. So we went through the counties that have rolling programs versus annual, and we wanted to key in on the annual applications. So those that provide an annual Act 137 application are checked there: Bucks, Berks, Clearfield, Delaware, Northampton, along with Erie and Schuylkill. There's biannual application process in Chester County. 2 to 3 year process in Lehigh, and an RFP but it's rolling with regards to Northumberland County. So we sent out surveys to 10 counties that have experienced the annual application process, and we received 5 responses for those counties that are checked off in the slide. And what we did was develop some questions for each county regarding how much Act 137 funds they dedicate to an annual RFP. I know RFP is used quite often, even in the study, as far as a proposal for projects that come in to the county for consideration. What is the approach to announcing fund availability? When do they begin each year? The process of reviewing applications. How long does it take for the review period? Projects are typically awarded annually. Are they biannual or 2 to 3 year process? Is there a cash match required with the RFP? And do the commissioners follow a staff recommendation, or they have an active housing advisory committee to help with that recommendation? And does the award recipient enter into a grant agreement with the governing body? So we wanted to get down to figuring out those answers with the counties that are providing the annual process. And this is a summary of the 5 counties that responded to us. The funds vary widely from 50,000 to 1.7 million annually under Act 137, depending on the size of the county and the amount of fees that they're intaking from the recorder's office. The average time frame for review of an application is 30 to 60 days. The timing, more often than not, counties prefer to coincide with their CDBG application, but there are some that review their applications towards the end of the year and award in the next fiscal year. The announcement of the availability of funds comes in many means, from emailing stakeholders to online web announcements and social media announcements. County and community development staff are usually the staff members that are giving recommendations on projects to the governing body. And there's little to no involvement from an advisory committee. In fact, the ones that we've talked to said they've eliminated the advisory committee, becomes quite cumbersome, and timing becomes an issue. Obviously, number of awards a county is given correlates with the availability of funds and programs within the county, and that ranges widely between different size counties. There's a cash match that's not usually required, but what the counties are encouraging is leveraging other funds with the Act 137 fund to strengthen that application. And all require a grant agreement or contract with the award grantee. So we've even received some examples from some of the counties we discussed these programs with. I'm just going to go through 2 programs that, kind of close to us. Clearfield County responded. Jody Brennan's the planning director. And I know she had indicated that this program is probably being transferred or has already transferred to the redevelopment authority. But she gave me the highlights of the program. Since they're our neighbor county, I wanted to highlight them. And they have a $50,000 annual availability of funds after they deduct their administrative fee. And as you remember from the last presentation, 15% of Act 137 can be dedicated towards administrative costs within the county. Their maximum request, they said, is $15,000 per project. And some of their projects are extended into the next fiscal year. They announced their availability through commissioner meetings, press releases. They have an email group, and they post on their county website. Typically, their process runs at the end of the year, but this year in particular, they ran it in February. And what she stressed was it really depended on the availability of their Act 137 funds. The application process is within 30 days, and they usually receive about 4 to 6 awards per year, or give out 4 to 6 awards per year under the program. And they don't require cash. They do require a cash match, but there's no mandated minimum for that. I think, again, they're trying to encourage leveraging funds from other sources and agencies. And the commissioners follow their staff recommendation on projects, and they do require an agreement. I believe Jody provided me with their grant agreement for the grantees who are successful. Northampton County, I wanted to go back there. Both Mark Hartney and Sarah Ortiz were gracious enough to meet with Betsy and I virtually and discuss their program, which I thought was great that they had the time to sit down and go through it with us. They have a $200,000 competitive round with their current fund balance of about $486,000. Their priority in 2020 was to include housing rehabilitation, which I believe Center County has done maybe years ago, but haven't done that in the recent past. They announced through stakeholder email groups similar to Clearfield County, and they also have similar funding announcements. I believe Mark Hartney also indicated that workshops are necessary for potential applicants, so they go through the application process and outline the eligible costs and so forth. This aligns with their CDBG funding period. They like to align that with the process of CDBG projects. They have 30 days again to vet and review their applications. Their projects vary each year, and Mark indicated in 2021 they wanted to focus services on homeless. Interestingly enough, they don't require a cash match, but Mark indicated to me that since in the city of Bethlehem, they have the Wind Creek Casino, and there is a local share for gaming funds that comes through to local municipalities in the county. So when it comes to doing, and they're in the process right now of doing a needs assessment, they're using some casino dollars that come back as the local share to propose their needs assessment for housing affordability. Since they're a home rule county, staff recommends the projects to the county executive. They did have an advisory committee, but did away with that and just went through the process of going through the county executive and choosing programs from their department. And again, the use of a contract and agreement is essential. They use that on approval of the award. So I wanted to go through those two. We did look at Delaware County, Berks, and Bucks County because they provided us information, but some of their programs are a bit larger. They do fund numerous projects in different categories of projects, and they also have a large amount of Act 137 money to work with, probably a little bit more than what we are anticipating. Lastly, just another consideration for Center County and the notice availability of funds. You know, Betsy and I were talking about looking at a recommendation. We would say that $25,000 to $50,000 per project for competitive round would be somewhat reasonable at this point to start. We currently have a fund balance. We've approximated about $431,957 from unspent funds within Act 137. The one thing to consider, our first-time homebuyer program is very active right now. I believe Betsy's up to about 7 applications. Last year, she ended at over 20, which translated into over $200,000 of assistance to first-time homebuyers. We want to update our needs assessment, which we're estimating probably between $75,000 and $100,000. And we have ongoing support. The commissioners have supported Center County Housing and Land Trust that comes out of Act 137, and any other future ongoing expenditures that the commissioners may see need for under Act 137. We can develop and utilize an existing list of stakeholders for the program. I'm sure Betsy has a list in mind when it comes to this program, and we could develop a more formal one for the program if the commissioners choose to go forward with this. And development of a web page, I think that would be something that would be able to promote the program even more and list the amount of awards each year that the commissioners so choose to look at in the near future. We would look at, I think we would like to see if this were to be proposed, an end of year kind of process, just due to the fact that with our first time homebuyer program, at least we know the status of the amount of projects that we're programming for, gives us a better clue as far as what is available to fund projects within the next fiscal year. And we can also develop an application package for the board's consideration and approval. We feel 30 to 60 days is pretty reasonable, very similar to liquid fuels application process. We're putting those notices out there and receiving applications for our further review under a possible scoring criteria that we would develop. We would obviously, to be determined on, what projects are awarded annually. We don't know what that looks like right now, but as it gets started, we'd be able to better understand what the needs are out in Center County's communities. Applicants should demonstrate leveraging for other affordable housing funding resources. We support that. I think it would make applications much stronger with regards to utilization of those funds and other funds from other agencies. And I think back when Linda Marshall was in Betsy's position, we talked about this program and how, county planning and community development staff should have some input into the process with recommending projects to the commissioners. And we'd probably want to look forward to working with Betsy Dupuy on a potential grant agreement to establish. And like I said, we have templates to work from to establish this process. So that's pretty much where we've been since the last meeting. I just wanted to give an overview, and I think this would conclude my end of the presentation.
Okay, Ray, thank you very much. In terms of what we're looking to do as a board today would just be to have a discussion regarding those policy considerations. I think the thing that we're trying to get to is a more routine and identifiable process for applicants to request these funds and to allocate them, rather than just sort of throughout the year, somebody sends us a letter and then we have to determine how to score it or how much to fund it. This would give just again, a structure for how we do this. So any initial feedback when it comes to some of those policy considerations for any of those, any feedback on that initially?
I'd like to have it something. I guess I could follow most of it, but I'd like to have a kind of a breakdown of what the options are and what the opportunities are, because I'm not sure exactly which one I favor at this stage. We do need a little bit more organized system, but I still think the commissioners need to maintain ultimate control out of the where the money goes, as well as I think there needs to be some input from obviously planning. I'd also like to see a little bit of input from the Register of Wills office, or not Register of Wills, but Recorder of Deeds, because that's where this money comes from. So I'd like to have a little bit of input, from a variety of sources.
Right, and we often average maybe 110,000 a year, maybe from Recorder of Deeds. It's often 9,000, 10,000 when it's real busy. We've had, $7,000 months from the Recorder of Deeds. And definitely that criteria of a lower dollar amount, especially for some of these companies that come in that want to put up big housing units, they're going to realize from that criteria that they won't be looking at $300,000 or things like that. So yeah, extra criteria would be very extremely helpful.
I'm pleased to see that we're promoting our first time home buyer program. Fabulous program, very helpful for families here in Center County. Definitely keep promoting that. But yeah, I would like to see more outreach into the community regarding seed money and match money for affordable housing projects. To Ray and Betsy's point, I don't think we have enough money coming in annually for us to directly by ourselves do major projects. The funding's just not there. But if we can use this to spark ideas to help people do prototype projects, or to be that last $50,000 or $100,000 that gets the developer over the hump to put up half a dozen to a dozen townhomes, condos, etc. Yeah, I think we need to be a bit more active in our outreach to the community. So yeah, let's take a closer look at these options and put something a little more formal in place and reach out more. Sounds great.
So from that, what we might want to do is doing a work session specifically on this, where we can go through some of those decision points that Ray had on his final slide that would allow us to say we'd like to do these amounts, this time frame, this many times a year, etc. But I think a work session may make the most sense at this point, and then we can go through some of those decision points. Do we have a consensus on that? Does that sound like a good way to approach this?
That works. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, we've got a lot on our plate right now with all the other redevelopment money. So, I'm just thinking ahead.
Yeah, work session is good.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Well, Ray, thank you for this information. A lot of time and attention has gone into this and very meaningful work. So thank you very much. And it's great to see the collaboration occurring with other counties. So much appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay. All right. We will head into our check run and turn it over to Commissioner Higgins.
Sure. I'll be very quick. We had a check run of $8,044,618.89. Sounds huge, but 7.5 million of that is a check to the money market account because, of course, all of the local property tax money is starting to come in very quickly right now. This is the time of the year when the county receives a significant portion of our local property taxes. Check of the week is to Center Safe for $11,382.35. That's the first quarter funding for a project that they work with the Center County District Attorney's Office on. Obviously, Center Safe does great work in a broad variety of areas, including protection from abuse. And so to keep things moving, would like to make the motion to approve the check run dated May 7th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the check run. Any final discussion on the check run? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, we have two requests for CNET sponsorship. The first one is a public service announcement for the Center County Office of Planning and Community Development. And this is to highlight the emergency broadband benefit that the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, is starting. It actually opens up tomorrow, and we would be advertising this to alert our residents about this opportunity. And it's going to be, we would have the PSAs running from May 16th through May 22nd. And then the second item for CNET approval would be, as Cindy mentioned earlier, it's a live stream of the 2021 primary election vote by mail processing room. That'll be held at the Penn Stater, but much like we did last year for the November election, this would be for anybody who wanted to join in via YouTube live stream. And it'll be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on election day. And then the count will continue then on Wednesday, May 19th from 11 a.m. Up until potentially 7 p.m. It may end before that, but it would just be in case we need to run that long. So we have these two sponsorships. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the CNET sponsorships for the emergency broadband benefit and the vote by mail processing room.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. And we'll turn it over to Commissioner Dersham for the voter registration report.
Good morning. This morning we have 105,071 registered voters in Center County. That's down 34 from last report. The highlight of the major parties is 44,152 Democratic registrants, 138 Green Party, 689 Libertarian, 13,912 no affiliation, and 42,310 Republican voters, which leaves all others at 3,870. And of that 3,870, I've chosen the Independence Party of America as the minor party feature of the week, and there is one registrant in the Independence Party of America. So that's the overall look. Now we'll drill down and look at precinct number 21, which is State College Borough Southeast. They vote at the Grace Fellowship Church, and in the last election, there were a total registered number of 1,145 voters. There were 905 ballots cast, which leads to a percentage turnout of 79.04%, which is a pretty good turnout, I might add. And the folks that make it happen, the judge of elections is Joseph Kowalski. The minority inspector is Sean Powers. The majority inspector is Daniel Duffy, and the clerks are Heather Scott, Kurt Angstrom, and Karen Storr. So I want to thank the Grace Fellowship Church for allowing us to use their facility. And next week is election day, so everybody get ready to go, because next Tuesday we are voting. So there you have my report today.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. We do want to note that our meeting for next week is going to be canceled for the municipal primary, so we will not be meeting at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. We will be meeting, however, Thursday, May 20th at 10 a.m. For our Board of Commissioners and Salary Board meeting. And also, Center County government offices will be closed on Monday, May 31st for Memorial Day. So we want to let everybody know about that. At this time, we will look to see if there's any executive sessions we need to report.
No executive sessions to report.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Public meeting schedule is listed there. We have election announcements as well. Today at 5 o'clock is the deadline to get your mail-in ballot requested. And then as we know, 8 p.m. on election day is the deadline to return it. At this time, we will accept any questions from the press at this time. Okay, seeing no questions from the press, we will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 11:17.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great day.